with issues of insecurity in our localities. It's not a general statement, it's just a random, we are not here for random statements or theories, but how can we look into insecurity in our communities and then deal with them as leaders? The secretaries to the governments of states, they are engine to governments of those states. They coordinate the activities of the state government, including security. Therefore, how do we work together, not only allowing the federal government to take charge of security of the localities that the state and local governments are supposed to take the responsibility? Looking at the security challenges in the country, we know every geopolitical zone has one issue or the other. If you go to the northeastern part of the country, it's the issue of insurgency mainly. You come to the northwestern part of the country, we have this kidnapping and banditry. You go to the southeast, we have the airport and also kidnapping. The airport are even becoming more deadly now. If you go to the southwest, we still have issues of armed robbery and kidnapping, and in the south, the story is the same. That of the southeast, to me, it is also an insurgency because they are separatists who are looking to disrespect or they don't recognize the government and they want to break away. Now, this is a situation in each of our localities. We have challenges, and at federal level, we've developed a lot of strategies towards mitigating these issues, but we don't get the maximum cooperation that we are supposed to get from the state, at the state level. And we believe the secretaries to the state governments should be conscious of security in their state, because when they are able to galvanize all the stakeholders and different structures that are there that can enhance the security of their state, we will have relative peace in terms of insecurity. Because if the secretaries of the state governments are not coordinating activities within the state in this area, I don't think there's anybody that can do. You don't need to wait for state security council meeting that is called for. Some governors don't even call for it at all. Some call it once a month, some they don't care. So, but the secretaries to the state government should be able, either on weekly basis or monthly basis, summon stakeholders to discuss issues bordering on security of their states. At the federal government level, we have realized that policing should come from the grassroots. States, wards, districts, villages, and towns should participate in fighting insecurity within the localities. That's why the federal government came up with community policing strategy. And this community policing strategy, as we're implementing it, we want the secretaries of the governments of each state to be fully involved in it, because they are the ones to guide the government of the states on the implementations and the challenges that are associated with it, so that the people trained to work within the communities, benefits is being derived from they are being trained and deployed. We have already worked with the state governments. We asked them to give us, which all state governments did, except about 4. We asked them to go to their wards, their districts, their villages, and towns. And this structure constitute both local government structure and state structure. Individuals were selected, individuals that were born and they grew up within the uh, districts, within the villages, and within the towns. Through the state government, we got this list and we trained them and kitted them as community policing officers, and we deployed them back to the villages where they came from, to the wards where they came from, and to the towns where they came from. The purpose is for them to prevent crime, to generate intelligence. All low-level crimes are to be dealt with this group of people. Now, this group of people are not supposed to be going to DPO or Commissioner of Police to be reporting security issues, especially low-level security issues. They are to report to a group. So a structure has been created in each local government and at the state level. In the local government, we have Community Policing Advisory Committee, where you have the chairman of the local government as the chairman of the committee, with traditional ruler being the co-chair. Then we have representatives of other security agencies and other stakeholders like town union representatives. We have youth representatives, market women representatives, other faith-based organizations that are represented. So this committee is supposed to deliberate on all security problems within the local government. If there is drug issue, problem of drug affecting the community, at least the community policing officers coming from the districts and the towns should be able to know those individuals that are involved in drug issues, and they report it to this committee. And this committee will deliberate on why is there too much drugs within their community. Who are the people that are bringing it? We know ourselves. If foreigners are bringing it, we can easily know. If it is within our children, we can easily know and then deal with it. So they deal with the security problems there. If it is rape issue or assault or theft, they deal with it. They don't need to go to DPO, the normal police station. So the community solve their problems, except if there is serious problem like felonious offenses, then they take to the DPO. At the state level, the same thing has been created to coordinate the activities of the local government community policing committee. At the state level, we have the chairman of the traditional council of the state, with the commissioner of police co-chairing. Then we have representatives from different components of the society also represented there, and they coordinate the activities of the community policing committees at the local government level. And at the end, they report to the governor the security situation in the state as it affects the rural areas. So we've trained about 18,360 community policing officers already, and we feel that the state governments have tremendous role to play, just like every other citizen of this country. As you know, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has given responsibility to every citizen to render assistance to appropriate to law enforcement agencies in the maintenance of law and order in their community. So everybody has to be brought on board. But who does the coordination? That is the emphasis. Who does the coordination in each state? The secretaries to the state governments have to do the coordination. Because if you leave it to the governor to be calling meetings all the time, there will be no meeting and there will be no coordination. So it is very important that you realize this. And then whatever structure you have in your states, I know some states have created other vigilante groups, and they created laws to back them. They cannot work in isolation from other security agencies. Therefore, the coordination again falls within the office of secretaries to the state government, which they must take that responsibilities. Funding of security is very expensive, and the federal government has been doing its own. The state governments have been also contributing because most state governments buy vehicles, they fuel the vehicles, and they even give allowance to security agencies. The, the traditional institutions are left out in terms of support to give intelligence that can support security agencies in performing their duties. I think funding should trickle down to the traditional institutions within the state or within the communities so that they can be part of the security architecture in supporting law enforcement agencies. And the community policing structure that I explained are already in the Police Act, the structure, so there is a legal backing for it. But it is also a structure that if you, in your own state, if you even modify it to adapt to your own peculiar environment, you can also create a law within the state to enhance the performance of the community policing structure in your state. I've had in this platform communal issues, communal clashes, but the state governments are supposed to, again, through the office of the secretaries to the state governments, to create early warning system that could be utilized to take care of communal crises that may evolve. If such early warning system is created when there's going to be any issue of chieftaincy title, farmer herders conflict, and so on and so forth, it can be identified early and then solution be found as quickly as possible. And the issue of good governance must be emphasized here because most of the criminals are coming from, just like what the Secretary to the Government of the Federation said, they are coming from our localities. So we know them in the sense that if you have a bandit, he's located within an area, and that area there's a kind of a government that takes care of that area. So if a bandit is within an area, maybe it's within a district, and that district belongs to a local government, and that local government invariably belongs to state. But if you ask the criminals, why are they into this criminality? Some of them will tell you for economic purposes. Why is it so? Because they don't have any alternative means of survival. So the state government must identify this group of people that are ready to leave criminality, but they must have alternative means of survival. And it is very simple. In each state, you have already structures. You have ministries. If
came on board, not even the resources deployed in tackling the various Hydra-headed security challenges in the country, coupled with the high level of successes recorded by this government so far, have succeeded in dampening the agitations. Some believe the state police is a panacea to the contemporary security challenges without according deep consideration to its implication on national security. The idea, as beautiful as it appears on the surface, has numerous negative consequences for national security. Although Nigeria is a federation, its democratic institutions are not mature enough for the establishment of state police, as there are apparent fears that state police will be employed for political victimization or other primordial reasons. It is paradoxical that the main proponents of devolution of authority in the polity are the most vociferous in opposing the devolution of policing duties to the community level through community policing. It may interest you to note that the federal government has initiated a community policing strategy that would incorporate all the informal policing outfits, including private security guards, companies across the country, to complement the efforts of other law enforcement agencies. The initiative has commenced in most states, and it includes, but not limited to, the regulation and mobilization of all informal policing outfits. Aside from this, the Nigeria Police has also commenced the reinvigoration of internal security architecture by repositioning the Nigeria Police as the lead agency in internal security operations. All these are to ensure that we build strong relationships with the public, which would play a significant role in reducing crime rates. Community-oriented policing has been shown to be highly effective in reducing crime rates and creating a sense of trust and security among citizens. In this connection, state governments must carve out roles for traditional rulers and civil society organizations. This will remove the perceived disconnect in the relationship between the public and security agencies. Dear SSGs, as security managers of our respective states, I want to implore you all to develop a robust internal security framework that will encourage community-based intelligence gathering and security consciousness. There's also a need to involve all critical stakeholders, including traditional leaders, as well as religious and community leaders, among others. We also need to resuscitate community-driven safety measures, which essentially is the monitoring of what happens at the local government level and escalating it to the necessary quarters for quick and appropriate response. This was how entrants and visitors into communities were discovered, registered, and monitored in the past. We can and should therefore resuscitate the system to complement the work of security agencies. It is my fervent belief that once we get everybody involved in information gathering and sharing, especially at the community level, we would be able to significantly reduce the current crime rate and insecurity in the country. Let me therefore make reference to the case of the abduction of students recently and the importance of obtaining information from the people. How was it possible for over 300 students to be moved away from a location without anyone knowing and witnessing the mass movement to alert security agencies? In contrast, over 100 students of the Federal College of Forestry Mechanization in Kaduna were rescued because of timely information and immediate response of security forces. The system we have is sufficient, and therefore it is pointless in yet creating another layer of bureaucracy in this era of scarce resources. If everyone takes security as his or her business, the success rate in the fight against banditry and terrorism will certainly be higher. In conclusion, distinguished members and participants, I urge you all to see security as everyone's business. No one is unimportant, no one is irrelevant. And in this connection, we can collectively tackle the present challenges and thereby reduce insecurity to the barest minimum. Let me at this juncture reiterate the capability and preparedness of the armed forces and security agencies to deal with the current challenges. We shall not waver but continue to discharge our constitutional responsibilities regardless. I wish us fruitful deliberations and positive outcome. Thank you, and God bless you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Operations by security agencies. Now, it is easier to say that some number of individuals are kidnapped, and let me give an example of the Kagara episode in Niger. About 200, were taken away, and of course, not that no intelligence was given. There was intelligence, the communities cooperated, but our challenge has always been the response. The whole of that local government, of Rafi local government, had only 86 policemen. 86. And these bandits came in hundreds, with well-sophisticated arms. So communities just became helpless. And this is the challenge that we have. 60% of our communities are not policed. Even where you have a semblance of presence of police, they are not well armed. In fact, it's even suicidal to have some police stations where they are currently located based on the activities of bandits that we have seen. In fact, at some point in my state, we have just quietly advised that all those police stations should be closed because they overrun the police stations, cut away their arms, and of course, at the end of the day, some of the policemen, lost their lives. I know that the architecture needs to be well invigorated. Believe me, it is easier to look at the situation that we have. Niger State, for instance, has 86,000 square kilometers. Before security agencies move from one community to another to respond, sometimes it will take them 3-4 hours. And this is a major challenge. So we appreciate that what we're doing currently would be